So here we have Dr. Francesca, Chief Development Officer, Aseer Development Authority. Thank you very much, Francesca, for being here. Women in a leadership position, what's your take on your experience in Saudi Arabia?
I need to say this country is absolutely outstanding in this. The opportunity I've been given here as a woman in leadership are unprecedented in my life. And I think we all women who are in leadership position, we have a task of mentoring the young women who are now in the job market, now in the offices. There are many women. I think the percentage of women is growing exponentially, and usually they're the best. They're the most motivated. They're the most active. They are the ones who want to really learn. I feel, and I always tell everybody, I feel half Saudi now. I got the
See,
I'm saying I cannot say I will always be Italian, okay? Because I'm strongly Italian, and there is an affinity, by the way, between Italy and Saudi. But I say I'm a half Saudi, and now I'm trying to learn Arabic, which is very big challenge when you work a lot. There is no time. And my vision to t-shirt is to learn Arabic, but I completely embrace the vision, and I feel so honored to be a part of it.
So here we have Dr. Francesca, Chief Development Officer, Aseer Development Authority. Thank you very much, Francesca, for being here. I would like to begin by understanding your role at Aseer and how did Aseer happen. A brief rundown on the journey of it. And I see also you're with Saudi Downtown, then with... apart from Saudi Downtown, Alula, they're all coming from Alula. So interesting line of work the last 4-5 years, I see. So we would like to get a glimpse of your journey.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you so much for the questions, Ravi, and this opportunity to talk about my journey in KSA, which is an absolutely exciting one. I'm very honored to be in this country because in this moment, for a professional like me, I am an architect originally, then I took my master in urban design, and then I have a PhD in urban and regional planning. There is no other country in this moment in the world, I think, that offers projects of this level and a speed of change of this level. So first of all, I've been here in 6 years in KSA. I've been in these 3 projects that you mentioned, and each of them is different, but the common trait is that the enthusiasm of the change and the possibility for somebody who is an architect and a planner to make an impact given the ambition of the country. So currently I am Chief of Planning and Development. Because Aseer Development Authority is a regional governmental authority. We are the regulatory authority. We're not developers. But we're called Planning and Development because in our mandate, we need to basically steer and coordinate development. We are the strategic entity tasked with having a picture of the region, which is quite a special one, big and dense and relatively dense, and basically coordinate all the amazing developments that we're having, which are both public and private. We have 3 very big PIF projects, and then others which are still in the pipeline. 3 are launched, which are Al Wadi, which is the downtown of Abba City. Then we have Suda, which is a super high-end development, master plan and development on the top of the Suda mountain, which is the highest mountain in the full Arabian Peninsula. And then we have AIC, Aseer Investment Company, which are developing a series of assets, plot by plot, to elevate the offering of hotels that we currently have. Because our regional strategy that was approved in 2019, we are the first region with an approved strategy by the central government, is focusing on tourism. on developing tourism as a way to diversify the economy within the Vision 2030. What we're trying to do with our planning, with our plans, we're currently developing the regional plan, the metropolitan plan, and a set of local plans, so statutory planning. What we're trying to do is to integrate tourism as an economic sector with other economic sectors to leverage it. At the moment, Aseer has a population of 2 million, of which one is concentrated in the metropolitan area, which is Aba, Khamis Mushait, and Al Rufaida. And the tourists, we have really high numbers of tourists, of visitors coming yearly. We go almost to 7 million people, 7 million visitors. However, the current tourist pattern is not what we want. Our vision for tourism is to extend. At the moment, everybody comes during the summer because, mashallah, we have an amazing weather. In the summer season, the temperature is between 20-25, even less.
Doesn't sound summer at all then.
No, it's like really special. This is the thing. Aseer is really special. Abba sits on 2,400 meters, and there is quite a special microclimate there. So we have basically a large portion of the country coming to spend holidays there. Which is nice, but it creates congestion, it creates pressure on the environment because our asset is nature, okay? We have these amazing green mountains with forest, we have this terraced agriculture, we have really outstanding landscapes, and the current pattern is putting a lot of pressure in development, not in the right sense. So our task is to steer development toward another direction, which is avoiding over-tourism, extending the visits across the year, so an year-round destination, and also starting considering the beauty of the landscape as an integral part of the development. So see nature more as an asset, protecting it and improving it, not like at the moment where our nature is suffering. So this is what we're doing. We have an incredible amount of projects because besides PIF, we also have a lot of private investment. We're not freezing development, which is what you usually do while you're developing the plan. We don't want to suffocate the region, but we're setting up processes to start driving it toward the right direction, including the architectural identities and the architectural character of what is built. Big time change.
Well, and what's your daily life like right now with the stage where Aseer stands at?
So, as I told you, we're doing the plans. In my sector, planning and development, I have 6 departments, which are planning, design, environment, infrastructure, and 2 new ones, which are heritage and a small development department. Because we're not developers, but having to see developer, I need some in-house expertise about real estate, feasibility cases. Yeah. And we are kind of a startup. We scale up 400% my team since I joined last year. And we have an extremely active and hands-on chairman, who is His Royal Highness Turki bin Talal, who is our superpower. He's really involved. He's like our best ambassador. He's really active. And we are working side by side with him and our investment department in order to make this change happen gradually. Because the plans will take some time to be ready. But in the meanwhile, we already want to start driving what's happening toward this new dimension. Another big change we want to make is what I described yesterday. Currently, like in all KSA, the transportation is entirely based on single vehicle driving, okay? And this is, I think, one of the reasons why Saudi cities are not as beautiful as they could be. They're not. If you go to Europe, first thing you can do is you go to the cities and you can walk. You have infrastructure to walk. In Saudi, this is not the case. And I'm promoting, I personally have this mission of making Aba into the most walkable city in KSA due to the weather. We have this blissful weather where we don't go to 40, 50 degree in the summer. The winter are temperate anyhow. And so it's about starting not having free flow traffic and huge right of ways only for cars, but to start allowing pedestrian, starting allowing bicycle, starting allowing scooters, and to plan for a public transport system, not as big and like they're doing in Riyadh. Something very light and very cool, like a tram. We are starting it, okay? It will need, of course, feasibility studies. Our infrastructure and transportation team is newborn. It was set up basically last year and this year. We're still growing, but we're very ambitious in making this change. More protection of nature and promoting multimodal transport.
Well, you really are enthusiastic about what you say. What's your story like? Like you've been a lecturer, I saw on your profile.
Yes, I used to teach.
So what's your journey like and being here? And another interesting thing I noticed is I was with Lee Holman yesterday from Alula.
Yeah.
He's currently the acting CDO.
CDO, yeah.
He also was an architect, then transitioned to working on the development side. So a lot of, like you said, I think no other country in the world today offers situations like what it has offered you. So I'm very curious to know your story.
Sure. Okay, so I graduated in Italy, in Venice, as an architect. And when I graduated, possibilities in Italy for architects were not great. Okay. So, and I always loved to travel and to go abroad. So rather than staying with the family office, I had a family of engineers and my father wanted to keep me there. I started traveling. Already I got graduated not in my hometown. I'm Sicilian, from Sicily. So I studied in Palermo, but then I finished in Venice, and I had 1 year of Erasmus in Spain, in Madrid. So I learned Spanish, and this is something amazing Europe offer you to go and spend 1 year abroad. You learn a language, you learn another approach to teaching and learning. It was amazing. Spain is a country which is still in my heart. And I soon started traveling. So my first job was in Milan as an architect. Then I went to Dublin in Ireland, and I worked at City Architects. And then I applied for a Fulbright scholarship, which is a prestigious American scholarship. And against any odds, because it's very difficult, I got it. So then I went and studied and did my master in the US in Harvard. And that was amazing. Like I spent 2 years in Cambridge, Massachusetts, in this amazing university. You're there with the best professors, with the best facilities, and above all, the best fellow students. You can go to MIT, and so I scale up from architect to urban designer, which is starting looking at relationships, at economies, at not only material things like buildings and constructions, where I had experience. I had also like building side experience, but I extended to this more systemic approach, which is the urban scale. Urban design is still pretty physical, but it's more looking at the public space, at the in-between space, and there are many, many ways to understand it. So that was a delight and expose me to this global view, because all my colleagues, I was the only Italian, which is something which happened to me very often. It was amazing. And after that, I was gonna get back to Dublin, work with some professors, but I decided to try and work in Sicily to do something which is the same I'm trying to do now in Aseer, to change. But Italy is different from KSA. Okay, it's an old country of old people, and making a change and an impact is complicated. So what I did is I did my PhD, and I did it in regional and urban planning. So it's again a scale up. It's more, regional planning is more about socioeconomic than physical. It's also physical. It's also the transformation, but I scale up. And after doing my PhD, I started teaching in Spain, in this university, which is a very good university, IE University. It's a business university, but I had started other faculties, architecture, and they asked me to teach urban culture to students of third year.
This is after your PhD?
After my PhD,
Okay.
so 2010. And at the same time, I was teaching. It was a part-time teaching job, so I would go and live in Spain a few months every year. I was teaching both the English and the Spanish course at the beginning. Then they just had the English course. That is a very, very good university, a jewel, small private university. The dean was Marta Thorn, who used to be the executive director of the Pritzker Prize, who is an amazing woman, an amazing professional, and a dear friend now. And at the same time that I was teaching, I was also working. I started collaborating with an Italian firm that was working in Oman, and I started preparing technical proposals for tenders in Oman. And we finally got a very big and nice one, which was the master planning of Matra, which is the core of Muscat, the capital city of Oman, that we did for the municipality. And I became the deputy team leader and the team leader there. It was a large interdisciplinary group because master planning is very interdisciplinary. So you have architects, but you need to have engineers for infrastructure. You need to have environmental. You need to have socioeconomic people. And it was my first experience in leading a large interdisciplinary team on the consultant side. We did this master plan. The client was very happy. I think the master plan then was not realized, was just partially realized because of funding. But I hear now it may start again, of which I would be happy.
This all is after your university stint or while you were still at it?
No. I graduated and then
you were teaching?
2015, I was still teaching. I was still getting to go.
So Oman stint is after 2016?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, the Omran. Until I was with consultants, I could still teach. I taught until 2017, so 8 years. Then I couldn't because then I passed. I was offered a job in Omran, which is a master developer of tourism in Oman. It's a public entity, and at that point, I had an office job, and I couldn't go anymore because I was taking basically 2 months every year to go to Spain. Until I was a professional with consultants, it was more flexible. Then I stopped teaching and I fully dedicated myself to the role of technical client, because there is all this market with consultants, and thanks God, many consultants are good, but not all the consultants are good. It happened to me sadly that consultants win tenders and then they don't really know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I take pride in being the technical client who can drive good consultants to achieve good product, which is what we did in Alula. In Alula, when I joined in the Royal Commission, it was in startup mode. We were 100 people. Now I think there are 1,500.
1,500, yeah.
There was this very strong CEO. We were building the team, and we prepared the framework plan, which is this sub-regional plan, which gives the direction. It's a high-level document, which was very useful in allowing some development to happen. So we allowed Maraya to happen while we were doing the planning, because the planning process is a long one, and it is very important that certain things are recognized, not even if you don't have the plans ready, even if you don't have all the data, through the educated guessing of good brains. Cannot be one brain. Planning by definition must be done. Good planning by multiple brains who put together the knowledge, interdisciplinary, different perspective, even the people, because the people are so affected by the plan. So you need to go, reach out and try to learn as much as possible from the place and the culture. So in Alula, it was a great success. Now the planning process is still ongoing, of course, because it's a long process. But I'm so happy to see it happening. Like in the plan, there was the dark sky designation, and now it was just achieved this year. So I'm very glad, and Alula is still in my heart, and I'm still in contact with my colleagues, ex-colleagues and teams. Some of them are still there. And then in Saudi downtown, the same. It was a still bigger challenge. It was 12 master plan all across the country. So we were dealing with something like 20 consultants initially because there were competitions. We had 12 master plans. 5 of them were competitions. So we had like 5 proposals for each. So it was incredibly hectic. But we selected the best consultants and then we gave them the concept master plans. And I was very happy of the level. Okay. Of course, I will not make names, but thanks God, there are some consultants, even if they are very overloaded, because the market is really overwhelming here.
Yeah.
But they really performed well, and we got to have our concept master plan approved by the board. It is Saudi downtown has a complicated mission because it's doing downtowns in the second tier cities, and through that I had the opportunity to visit the full country, the full kingdom, which is really amazing because its city is really different from the others, and good master planning is about learning what is the DNA and what is the marvel that each place has, and do something different. When you see the same thing repeated over and over, you know that it's not good planning and master planning. You cannot do copy paste. You really need to go to the place for long periods of time, understand it, talk to the people, collect data. Data is a big challenge all over the country, but it will come. GIS, now we have good technology, digital twins, and the GIS and all of this is coming. But still there are major challenges with the data when you start. The cartography and the demographic data. But you can go there, interact with the place, and learn by it. So that's fascinating because master planning is a mix between science and art. You need to be very sensitive, but you also need to be very prepared in certain disciplines which are scientific. You need to know a little bit of engineering. You need to know a little bit of environment. You need to know a little bit of everything in order for different disciplines to talk among each other. So I love this job. It's really amazing. I don't know.
And your PhD was
in urban and regional planning.
Okay.
About waste.
Quite deep.
My PhD was about waste as a planning topic, because waste is done in sectorial planning and the spatial implications are never considered. So I made a point that there are a lot of implications, and I'm against sectorial planning. Sectorial planning, yes, of course you need to have it because you need the specialists. But the specialists, they talk their own jargons, their own language. So you always need somebody who's able to see the full picture and connecting dots. My skill is connecting dots, and I'm trying every day to mentor people to have this ability, to look at the larger picture, to interact and talk with everyone, to understand the place, and then connect dots as a collective skill, as an interaction of multiple brains.
Well, it's quite deep, whatever you mentioned, and especially when you said it's a mix of art and science. That's an excellent. You either have an artist or you either have a scientific person, but a combination of both, I can imagine, is quite deadly.
It's
very nice.
It's very exciting because cities are living organisms. You cannot design them all. You don't want to design them all. You need to leave space for the unexpected, for the social interaction, for the surprise. When I see
that's the artist side or the scientific side.
That's a combination of it. You need to understand what is important to do. You need to be super strategic. You don't want to over-design everything, because if you design everything, you don't leave space for creativity of the human beings. We are the city dwellers. And this applies to cities, which are the places for social interaction, but also to landscapes, okay? You need to understand the landscapes. Sometimes it's about understanding their environment, so very scientific, but also understanding what economies you can create to regenerate. For example, in Aseer, we have this amazing terraced agriculture, which economically is not making sense anymore, it's dying. But we're trying, through crossing different sectors with tourism, to create agri-tourism. So there is a reason to go back to grow food there, because then you go food to table to have the visitors to eat something really organic and from the land. Okay, so these kind of things, like hybridizing disciplines and approaches, is the added value of planning and master planning.
Women in a leadership position, what's your take on your experience in Saudi Arabia?
So I need to say this country is absolutely outstanding in this. The opportunity I've been given here as a woman in leadership are unprecedented in my life. Now, of course, the country like this transformation is recent. It will take time to form a generation of women that are leaders here. There are already some. In Alula and RCU, it was amazing. Like almost half of the C-suite was women, both Saudi and expat. Now the acting CEO is Aseer. She's a great woman, and really she's an inspiration for me. And I think we all women who are in leadership position, we have a task of mentoring the young women who are now in the job market. Now in the offices there are many women. I think the percentage of women is growing exponentially, and usually they're the best. They're the most motivated. They're the most active. They are the ones who want to really learn. To get to leadership position, I really believe you need to know your job. Here, I see a lot of young Saudis, they want to become managers direction. I strongly recommend to all Saudis, men and women, to before work hard, learn the job, and then you go to leadership training or courses, because a good leader must know what he's talking about, he or she. And more, we need more women in leadership. Still, the numbers are low, and so one of my mission is to, as much as possible, mentor young, amazing architects and planners that I have in my teams to believe in themselves, to learn their job, to become very strong technically, and then to grow into the soft skills which are important for leaderships.
And in your role as the Chief of Planning and Development Officer, do you also, so you're dealing with consultants naturally, you're steering them in the direction that it should achieve the objectives.
Yeah.
Do you also involve yourself in what material should come, what type of material should be used in this in the construction of some of your projects?
Yes, that's my architecture. They are one of the design team. They're doing a material library. It's, yes, of course, you need to go down to that. We don't do construction. We are in charge of giving guidelines. There's a push to our local materials. There are now these architectural identities which are very important, and they will need to be developed more and more, because we have a good set of ones, but we're working on them to make them more and more site specific. But of course, yes, we get to the smaller scale because it's about multi-scalarity. You need to see things from the very high view, bird view, till the chair, and what is this chair we're sitting on, and this is how you can promote sustainability at all levels. And when you start seeing the connections between the large scale and the small scale, this is another of the quality that are so important as an added value in connecting dots.
And Saudi Vision 2030, what lens do you see that?
The thing I see is the incredible ambition and this the speed of the change. And I cannot say enough how much I appreciate the leadership of this country, who's making this incredible change from a very close toward a very open country, which is a land of opportunity for the people of this place, which is the most important. But also, I feel, and I always tell everybody, I feel half Saudi now. I got the presidency as saying, I cannot say I will always be Italian, okay, because I'm strongly Italian, and there is an affinity, by the way, between Italy and Saudi. But I say I'm a half Saudi, and now I'm trying to learn Arabic, which is